So, welcome back to another episode of Haunt Talks, guys. Really excited. I am here with Rick, and this gentleman right here, the reason why he's such a special guest tonight, because he scared the absolute fuck out of me at Sinister's Point. Before the maze even started, we were in the elevator shaft or the elevator room. Right when he came in, he shook my hand in the most creepiest way of ever. And he did a phenomenal role playing it. He was like the most memorable character throughout the whole maze. And there was a lot of good, don't get me wrong, all the rest of you guys out there, you guys did good. I know the gentleman from Haunt Horror, he was scaring that night. You did a good job too, man. But this guy right here was just, I couldn't stop thinking about him. He was like almost an actual nightmare come to life. So it's really good to have you here, man. How you doing today?
Good. How's it going?
It's going really great right there, man. So let's talk about, it's kind of crazy that you're not a Long Beach local, but you know about this place.
Yeah.
How did you hear about it?
I discovered Sunnyside Cemetery back in 2015 through the Frida Cinema and Lola's Mexican cuisine, the movie nights.
Yeah.
I frequented the Frida downtown San all the time. And it was actually our first date with an ex-girlfriend. We came here, and it was a double feature night of Hitchcock movies. It was The Birds, and it was Psycho. It was just really cool the way they lit up the cemetery with lights and some DJ playing 80s music.
Really nice.
Food trucks and vendors, but yeah, pretty cool history here too.
That's really good. Yeah, it's a really old cemetery, as everyone can tell from the old school tombstones and everything like that. One of the very few to actually have like an own personal mausoleum. At least from what I've seen, you don't really see that in like Forest Lawn. It's usually like a shared spot, but this is its own family's mausoleum, stuff like that. And it's right dead center, almost dead center in the heart of Long Beach, kind of off a little bit to the side. But anyways, let's get back into the haunt stuff. So how did you hear about Sinister's Point? Were you a fan before? Have you gone before auditioning, or did you saw it and you just went for it?
I was a fan of their attractions. They had an oddity store with a spirit room in the back. It was in Brea, and they had a little one-off haunt attraction during the spring of 2015. And it was an actual mock seance, but there was some realism to it. It was pretty creepy.
Okay.
Went to a couple of their other haunts in their Fullerton location. Last year, a friend brought to my attention, hey, they're doing open auditions. People don't have any experience. A little story behind that. I came this close to walking away from the audition, and I was hanging out front. Danny, I think he's a talent manager for Sinister Point, caught me sitting outside. And he saw the tattoos. He said, hey, what are you doing here? I'm just hanging out. We bullshitted for about a minute. He's like, you're here to audition. I'm like, yeah. If it wasn't for him, Danny, hope you're watching this, I wouldn't work at Sinister Point. I wouldn't be here with you. And because of that open audition, because Danny's influence, and he sounded like the mentor the entire time I was there. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have that experience. Super green to the industry. So.
Yeah, that's amazing right there. And so now you kind of like you stepped your foot in. Now you want to fully dive in. I understand that you're looking for next year already where to work at.
Yeah,
that's awesome right there. And what else? So let's talk about you said Danny's like your influence and everything like that. What did it take for you to get into character? Like the whole security guard that you did right there was just a phenomenal character. It was. I can't stop thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's an amazing thing. What took you to step out of? You're a very polite man and everything like that. Very nice, very loving giant type of thing. And but when you're the security guard, you're something totally different. What did it take for you to get to that?
I say by the second or third day of officially being open, I had a hard time getting into character.
Yeah.
People that know me, I worked security for a long time when I was a bouncer. So I said, you know what? This is my door. These are my rooms. Let me get into character. And the little backstory they gave me was he was semi-possessed on the Evil on 2 maze.
Yeah.
So I was fighting the possession at the same time I'm trying to help people. So I played it both ways. Come on, you guys gotta hurry, let's get out. And then I played it for the possessed, like, hurry up, let's get out, whatever. So I was devious, trying to be devious. And I just wanted to make it very campy and vocal.
Yeah.
So the iconic horror character was Freddy. The more movies they created, Freddy got so campy, like, hey, you want to suck face? And he sucks the life out of the girl. Or, the roaches can check in and they check out and he crushes, the roach motel. So I made it very campy at the same time, a little creepy, semi-perverted. If I can explain the backstory on the security guard.
Yeah.
So he was fighting the possession. So I created this backstory that he was a washout from the police academy. Okay. And his girlfriend left him. He was disgruntled. So the only job he could get was working at this hotel. I don't know if you guys noticed, but coming down the hallway, he had pictures posted up on the walls of just inappropriate things, obviously.
Yeah.
So he was into voyeurism and he abused his authority. So once he got possessed, his true evil self came out, hence the security. So I just wanted to be very interactive. The fact that I had to cover multiple rooms and more than just like a jump scare. I was interacting with people and calling people Baldy or princess or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I saw you smiling, but what are you smiling at? He went from smiling to, and
oh man,
seeing people's reactions or people just having excitement over it, it made it fun for me. A few times I broke character, I'd have to look away and laugh, but just the background, I just kind of developed it over time, and by the second or third week, whatever worked for me worked.
That's really good to hear right there. It's a matter of just trial and error, kind of.
Pretty much, yeah. Just like anything in life.
Yeah, that's true. That's really cool. So this year, Cynic's Point, or last year I should say, they kind of went like a little bit more extreme with their whole phobia maze and everything like that. And everyone knows now that like extreme haunts are actually becoming more of a bigger modern thing with 17th Door, and Cynic's Point did their stuff, and then you got other people like Heretic and everything like that, kind of like coming out of the shadows and being more modern. What is your take on extreme haunts? Would you ever do one yourself?
I personally don't like the extreme haunts. Nothing against them.
Yeah.
I'm claustrophobic.
Okay.
Even in our own little phobia haunt, there was the sections you have to crawl through, and when we were doing the walkthrough, I was like, I can't do it. Nope. So I'm just showing the exit. Light touching's okay. The most extreme one I went to recently was Zombie Joe's.
Really?
I loved it, and I don't scare easy, but that made me fucking uncomfortable as hell.
Which one did you go to?
It was the Dark Ride.
Oh my god.
And it was super creepy, and it got very in your face and personal. I loved it. But at the same time, I'm like, when is this gonna end? Extreme haunts is not my thing. It's it's some people prefer it. I personally don't. I'm probably a little more of a traditionalist in haunts, which I loved. I accidentally went to the Flesh Yard a couple of years ago, not knowing I was signing a contract.
Yeah.
With a girlfriend at the time. Once we got in, I realized, we signed up for the wrong thing. They literally took her glasses off her face, and she couldn't see nothing. I was like, I think it's time to.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out the chicken exit. So yeah.
Oh man.
Not my thing. Nothing against that part of the industry. It's just not my thing.
That's understandable. Everyone has like their own boundaries and everything like that. There's certain ones that we won't do because of like force feeding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can't really do that. And,
not a big fan.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. Are you okay, baby? Mm-hmm. All right. So let me know when you're ready. Mm-hmm. Are you good? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, being in the haunt industry, you must have like some love for horror. What is like the thing that got you into it?
I think when I was a kid, my parents didn't really regulate what I watched.
Okay.
It was a lot of movies, going back to the classic Universal monster movies, to like kind of like the psychedelic vampire movies of the 60s and 70s. And obviously my man crush, Michael Myers. I went from being completely terrified of him to being obsessed. Anything John Carpenter. As a kid, the community I grew up in, everyone was big on Halloween.
Really?
Every house had like a little, yard display or like a home haunt. And we would go out for hours. And we knew neighborhoods, you could ride your bikes and get candy, just get the shit scared out of you. Excuse me.
That's cool.
Also, when I was a kid, like you'd go to Spencer's gift shop. I haven't been in a mall in years. I don't even know if Spencer's existing still.
Yeah.
Every October, they were just flooded with masks. And Zagon masks are pretty old school. To me, that's iconic. And a lot of the department stores had like little pop-up like displays of Halloween costumes. And they just went from that to just the movies to books, anything Edgar Allan Poe, Stephen King, Maynard Kuntz. It's just a theater of the mind. Also, which is kind of a secret to me, I'm kind of a Dungeons and Dragons nerd.
That's good.
So there's a lot of role playing in that, and there's gothic campaigns, and that's another episode.
There we go.
A lot of that just developed, just that artistic influence or just interest in it. And the movies went to the haunts, and so my experience with Knots, my very first haunt was Knots, and I think I was maybe about 14 or 15, and it was completely terrifying. But at the same time, you're totally infatuated with it. Later on down the road, when Universal started making their attractions as well, my first experience was Rob Zombie was there, and at the same time they had Clyde Barker doing all the Hellraiser characters.
Nice. Okay.
It's from everything from being influenced from books and movies to a kid up until now. I mean, you can find masks that were made in the 60s. You can find costumes. I collect a lot of artwork as well.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff from Universal Studios. A lot of the 6-scale figures from Nika. Anything horror. And it just became this outlet. And just you always felt like you were this outsider because you were into things that were spooky or dark and sinister. And obviously there's other people in the community as well. I think it goes back to movies, influence, and a lot of books, the theater of the mind.
So being a haunt actor, you must have some good encounters and some bad encounters with customers there. What are the goods? What are the bads? What are some of the ones, let's talk about the good first, because that's always good here. What are some of the best scares you've ever had?
Some of the best scares I had, you didn't get to experience it. I was actually projectiling vomit, but it was just water with food coloring. So I went from doing it on the floor to actually on the facade of the maze, which is a white wall. Or I was doing it through my hands with the gloves, and I was like, I don't feel so good, or I'm all better now. Who wants a kiss? You know, stuff like that. You know, just being stupid. Some people were freaking out about that. I felt bad about one lady. She actually almost threw up herself, and I broke character. I'm like, are you okay? And she turned yellow, and she's I'm fine. I'm like, get out of the maze now. You know,
just back and forth.
That or just people that I worked with at my day job didn't recognize me, and they were freaking out. And I told them, hey, I'll see you at work on Monday, and they did a double take And on Monday at work, I'm getting my morning coffee because I'm tired from Sinister Point working Sunday night. They're all, was that you in the maze? I'm like, no, that was I have a twin brother. He's actually involved in that industry. People clapping, people just freaking out, people smiling.
I bet, yeah.
My best reaction was, you see the girlfriend who's kind of being protected by the boyfriend, and she's the easiest target. But if you go for someone who doesn't expect it, and then that's going to make the whole crowd react. So if you're the boyfriend, hey, pretty boy, and the boyfriend's like, oh my God, and the girlfriend reacts to that as well. Some of the bad experiences, people that mocked you or talked trash, and again, not everybody's perfect. I had someone take a kick at me. They tried to kick me in my nuts. I actually sidestepped and walked it in the character. I'm like, you missed. I'm like, get out now. It's just being tired, but you take the good with the bad. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was worthwhile, and I loved every experience from it. And if it wasn't for Sinister Point, I wouldn't have that. I loved it, and thank you guys.
So I can tell by how you're talking about your experience and everything like that, it's easy for you to jump back into character as a security guard. Do you find yourself sometimes using the security guard to get make your friends laugh or to freak out your neighbors or something like that?
I catch my friends or family off guard. I caught some friends gossiping about other people, and I came around the corner and slammed my hands on the wall of my house. I'm like, shouldn't gossip about people. Hey! And they're like, oh! I'm like, see? That's what you get. It's just channeling that my inner curve and Freddy Krueger with campy one-liners. And I think it's my split personality. Who knows? I don't know where it came from. Even in my audition, I walked out. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? I'm like, who was that guy? Sinister Jeff, the owner and operator of Sinister Point, amongst everyone else, is there amongst the panel of my audition. And I turned to him and I was like, hey, what are you looking at, pretty boy? And I told everyone else, and I'm like, and a couple other people, they're a little smaller than Jeff. And I'm like, why go after the appetizer? I go after the main course. And I was like, all this weird stuff came out. I'm like, who are you? Who's this perv?
That's crazy right there.
It just, I don't know where it came from, but I just noticed ever since then I could jump in and out. And I've gone a few, again, I'm nobody, I'm new to the industry. I've gone a few places and people are like, dude, you're the security guard from Sinister Point. I'm like, I am? And at Haunt X, someone recognized me. And then my local bar in Huntington Beach, someone came up to me and they're like, you're the security guard from Sinister Point. I'm like, yeah, okay. And to me, it's just kind of weird that people acknowledge who I am. I'm like, I'm nobody. I'm green to the industry, but it's just weird that happens.
Hey, now you're developing some fans and everything.
Yeah, because I'm so popular.
Exactly. I probably wouldn't be the first to say that we would like to see more of the security guard. If there's a movie based on that character alone, I'd be opening night.
It'd be quality people. Of the Candyman, which wasn't the greatest movie, but yeah, it'd be a straight to Netflix or something.
Hey, dude, I'd binge watch that thing forever, man. Speaking of horror movies, I know you like Michael Myers and everything like that. What do you think about comparison? Keep asking. you collect a lot of like vintage stuff.
Mhm.
What do you think about the modern horror and everything like that? Do you feel like it's going towards a good way? Do you feel like it's not really?
I mean, obviously we can't hold on to iconic movies. Like for example, I like the original Fright Night, made in the '80s, and the remake I actually liked as well. Same with Evil Dead. The second one was super gory and bloody, and I'm not a big gore fan.
Really?
A lot of remakes, I think they should be left alone. But when they pay homage to them, I love Rob Zombie. I was rooting for him for his Halloween movies. They weren't the greatest, but again, I give him credit. I think you're just catering to a new generation of haunt people and people that are into horror movies. Not everyone can be into the Roman Polanski's Fearless Vampire Killers. People know that reference, or Tales from the Vault. And it's so campy and cheesy. The blood looks orange, but to me that reminds me of watching these movies when I was a kid. Every genre is different. Every genre is different, and you're catering to a new generation. Like the Persian movies, I love the first one, and you never really saw something like that before. It all depends. You cater to different genres, different generations.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So, with you kind of like fresh into the haunt industry, a lot of scare actors do start off as scare actors, and then they seem to develop into doing their own stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself anytime in the future, or have you thought of some stuff recently of your own type of haunt?
I've always been a home haunter, going back to when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like the simplest thing, like turning some pizza boxes inside out, making tombstones.
Okay.
Or just having like my grandfather, who was a carpenter, made me wooden tombstones. I put them in the front lawn, and I was like a hunchback, like grave digger, just digging like a pile of dirt from one pile to another. And this is how old I am, playing a cassette with like spooky sounds with the house speakers in the front window. And my dad's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's Halloween, Dad." I would like to continue to be an actor. I do have an interest in set design, props and lighting. That's the one thing I noticed the most. Unfortunately, a lot of actors don't scare me because you see this big 6'4" dude, and they kind of overlook me. Unless they're little girls, the female scare actors scare the shit out of me the most. Like if they're like in baby doll dresses, or some weeping bride in like all black. I don't like that. Good example. I love the Ghost Town Bride from Knots, but her fucking character creeps me the fuck out. And I see the makeup and her smiling. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch it from here. How about that? I love to get into set design eventually. Maybe lighting, maybe more of the back end. I am older, so I don't know how much more my knees could take running around. Again, I got into the late age, but the business it's 8-9 months a year round. And the actors kind of pop in towards the end of it. Set design would be great. I'd love to do that one day, or eventually continue to be a home haunter.
Yeah. There we go. I don't want to put this too far. There we go. Yeah. All right. So I'm not gonna be able to see this, but that's cool. Pretty fun. I want to get this back. All right. Yeah. So from what I learned, what you told me is that they used to do movie screenings here and everything like that. What you mentioned earlier that they did, what was it, Frida what? I'm sorry?
Oh, the Frida Cinema in downtown Santa Ana.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. And you said you used to dress up for them as well, too?
Unofficially, I'd show up as the Shape, as Michael Myers from either on the 30th or 31st when they screened John Carpenter's movie.
Nice.
And it's funny because I would stay in character from the time I'd park to the time I walk, and I'm actually playing the music on a Bluetooth speaker. And so I got the whole walk and the posture. Obviously, I'm too big to be Michael Myers, but people were either freaking out, like crossing the street, or wanted to take selfies. Next to the Frida is a little taqueria, and it's a big storefront, it's glass windows. And as I'm walking by on purpose, people are taking their phones out, and the staff saw me trying to open the door, and they were locking the door. And I was pretending I was trying to break into the door, and I had the prop knife, and they were screaming.
Oh my God.
And they dropped the keys, and the people from the Frida come out and see that. Last year was pretty cool. So I just stood under the marquee it's only 2 theaters at the Frida, and super cool place. Go support them. I stood in the theater in the dark as people walked in, and people were shitting themselves.
I bet.
And the managers are all, just go sit down with them, go interact with people. And I'm doing the so they can hear me through the masks.
Yeah.
And the whole entire time I'm laughing. And I just sat with people, interact with them, and just follow them around, kind of do the head tilt and the weird turning and whatnot. But I've been doing that honestly with them on my own for the last probably 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
So that's been fun. So,
It's like a little like on the side scare acting and everything like
I'm
that.
like, hey, I'll be there on Halloween. They're, yeah, come by.
Yeah,
Do what you gotta do.
hell
So
yeah.
yeah.
That's really cool right there, man. So, let's get back to Sinister's Point.
Okay.
Because that is like, they're a pretty well-known thing. It's your first stepping stone, and it
Mhm.
won't be your last. How was your full-on experience there?
I loved it. I was totally embraced by a lot of people. Excuse me. A lot of vets gave me advice what to do, and they kind of gave me free range just to be very semi-interactive and immersive
Mhm.
with the customers that came through, and it just developed this character of the security guard. Because originally, I was supposed to be the demon at the end of Evil on 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they reached out to me. They're like, well, you're going to be security. I'm like, you want me to work security? They're like, no, you're going to be the security guard. I was a little bummed.
Yeah.
But once I got into character and I put on the uniform and just the makeup, it took flight. It was probably the best experience ever, just being, a haunt geek, from the time I was 8 to the time I'm, 43 now. I loved every minute of it. Best people to work for. I loved everything about it, the good and the bad. And this might open the doors to something else. I'm definitely going to be loyal to them. And I'd love to come back if they'd have me. And hopefully they will do something again this year or in the near future.
Exactly.
I'd like to experience other haunts as well, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The big three.
Of course.
Who doesn't want to work in Ghost Town? Who doesn't want to work at Dark Harbor or Universal? Oh my God. Who knows? This could lead to other things, or I might just be humble and grateful and just leave it where it's at.
So, with working with Sinister's Point last year, I'm pretty sure like a lot of people and everything like that inside that business as well. I don't want you to give out too much information, but if you can give us like a little a hint or some glimpse of hope of a Sinister's Point 2019.
They definitely took on more this last season, which was amazing. Good or bad, as far as the numbers, it was a lot. It was a great experience for myself and a lot of people that actually worked there. That I talked to, people that actually came as customers. They loved it. They loved the mazes. They loved phobias. Evil on 2, I think, was the best.
The best one.
Unfortunately, I never got to see the Boogeyman Express because I never was able to go upstairs because I was always working. As far as 2019, there's some talks about some new projects in the works.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the veterans I've been communicating with here and there and gave me guidance, and they actually reached out to me yesterday about what we're doing today and giving support. I'd love for them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see them to be back on the map again because they were definitely being watched by the big parks.
Oh yeah.
And for being on the scale they're at, I thought they did an amazing job, regardless of what people said. And I ran into some of the big bosses the other day at Reign of Terror, Sinister Death. And we talked shop, and we talked personally, and it sounds like there's definitely something in the works.
That's really good to hear. You guys hang tight. If Sinister's Point's back on the map again, it's going to be an amazing 2019 again. So let's hope. Fingers crossed. Don't hold your breath too much, and we'll see what's going on. Rick, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
You are an amazing scare actor.
Man.
Anyone would love to have you on as a crew for anything. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing. All right?
What's the matter, princess? You miss Halloween? So do I. I guess I'll see you next haunt season. But until then, I'll be watching.